We'll start with two projects that I have opened side by side on my IDE. phys-env is an environment variable helper and a validator, and phys-crypto will be our HTTP-based microservice. That being said, the types of these projects aren't that important for our purposes, because in this mini video we are going to look at how you can publish a Go project to a private Git repository, and then how you can consume that private project, private Go module, as a dependency in another private Git repository. So the types of those modules are not important. We will focus on how we can import and export dependencies here. We'll first publish this phys-env project and then install it as a dependency in this phys-crypto project and use it. So let's begin, shall we? First, I'll add my local phys-env project to my Git GUI, which is Tower in my case, and you can also use Git commands on your terminal instead of using a graphical user interface if you prefer. But since all of my projects are neatly organized here, using a graphical interface works better for me in this case. First, I'll ignore this .idea folder and exclude it from the source control since it's IDE specific and it shouldn't be part of our source controlled project. Then I'll push my initial commit, and also I'll rename this master branch as main to be consistent with the rest of the projects that I'm working on. And there we have it. Now I'm going to tag this commit hash that I have just pushed to the origin, and I'll give it a tag named v010 and publish the local tag that I have created to the remote origin. Now when I go to GitHub and check the repositories tags, I'll find a release with the name v010, which means that we can add it as a dependency to our project using GoGet. So I'll switch to phys-crypto, which is our microservice that we are going to require phys-env as a dependency. However, when I try to add it as a dependency by doing go get github.com 0to-hero-dev phys-env, the go tooling is giving me an error telling me that it cannot find the remote origin. That's normal because phys-env is a private repository, and luckily the error message also provides me with a helpful link, so I'll open up that link and follow the instructions there and update my git config as recommended. So let's vim git config to edit my git config file and paste the configuration that we got from the web page to this git configuration file, which is my .gitconfig file in my profile folder, and save and exit. And now when I go get github.com 0to-hero-dev /phys-env again, this time I get a different error, and now the Go tooling is having a hard time verifying our Go module because our module is a private repository and therefore it's not being proxied or mirrored, and therefore its checksum is not validated by Google's sum.golang.org website essentially. So the Go toolkit cannot look it up on that website and it cannot ensure its authenticity because it's private. To tell the Go toolkit that our repositories are private, so it should bypass checking the checksums for them, we need to export an environment variable which is named Go private. So setting up that environment variable will tell the Go tooling that this pattern is a private repository and should not be checked against the public Go checksum database. And the environment variable here is a comma-separated list of glob patterns. So if you manage more than one Git organization that has private repositories that you want to import projects from, you can add them side by side, separating them with commas and adding them into this Go private environment variable string. Since I'm using Z shell, I am adding this line to my Z profile file, which will be loaded at login. And different operating systems will have different places to set up those environment variables. So just make sure that you have this Go private environment variable set up and the shell instance where you are running the go get command to fetch the Go module can read it essentially. After exporting this Go private environment variable, if we open a new shell and then try to get our dependency again by doing a go get github.com /0to-hero-dev /phys-env, this time we'll be successful to get it. And now I can import this package and use it in my code, which is progress. And before you leave, make sure to check out the links and other reading material that you will find on this video's webpage for additional information about the topics that we have covered here briefly. Next up, I'll create an article about what this phys-env module is all about and how we are going to use it in our FizzBuzz Pro microservices. But until that time, may the source be with you.